We praise output, athletes who push through pain, entrepreneurs who only sleep 4 hours a night, financial provision, no matter the cost. We clap for endurance. We admire sacrifice. We celebrate the grind. But what happens when your physical or mental capacity changes? What happens when the body says no? I'm Jael from Cell-Based Nutrition. I'm a naturopathic nutritional therapist and I work with people with chronic pain and complex health needs. Many of them are high functioning, driven, disciplined, used to pushing through until their body pushes back. This space talks a lot about strength, discipline, and performance, and I want to zoom in on something that underpins all of that: capacity. Because if you don't understand how capacity works on a biological level, eventually the grind turns on you. Most people don't build identity around who they are. They build it around what they can do. Identity is built on capacity. The athlete who can perform, the worker who can outlast, the provider who can carry everyone, the creator who produces on demand. And then something shifts. An athlete tears a ligament. A founder burns out. A father develops chronic pain. And it's not just a physical loss, it's a complete identity destabilization. When your worth has been tied to what you can endure, losing endurance feels like losing yourself. And that is the part that we don't talk about. There is a difference between wanting to do something and being able to do something. Desire, that lies in the mind. Capacity lies in our nervous system. The nervous system is our body's command center for stress, for safety, for recovery. And it decides whether or not you are in performance mode or survival mode. In survival mode, performance narrows, blood flow changes, digestion slows, sleep fragments, pain increases, and cognitive flexibility drops. You become more reactive, less creative, less adaptable, less productive. And this is not a weakness. This is biology. So what happens to a nervous system that never stands down? You get chronic sympathetic activation. And that is the fight or flight branch of our nervous system. And the switch stays on. Sometimes it shows up as fight, irritability, anger, restlessness. Sometimes as flight, overworking, avoidance, busyness. Sometimes we freeze, numbness, shutdown, fatigue. And sometimes it shows up as fawning, people-pleasing, overgiving. In all of these states, cortisol stays elevated, recovery drops, inflammation rises, and pain sensitivity increases. You feel wired and tired at the same time. Grind culture only works when capacity matches ambition, and it collapses when that physiology shifts. And when it collapses, men often experience this as a status threat, a loss of earning power, a loss of strength, a loss of independence. This causes a lack of confidence and an identity panic. And what does panic do? It pushes harder. So you train more, you work more, you override more, you ignore more. And then that increases the load on your nervous system, which reduces capacity, which increases panic. And that is the loop. Now let's talk about chronic pain for a moment. Chronic pain is not just tissue damage. It's often the result of a sensitized nervous system. When the nervous system never receives signals of safety, the alarm stays loud. Pain amplifies. And this does not mean that the pain is imagined. It just means that your nervous system is stuck on high alert. You can have very real pain with very little structural damage because your nervous system has become accustomed to looking out for threats. If your identity depends on pushing through, you will try to circumnavigate or overpower the alarm, but you can't outgrind a dysregulated nervous system. You have to work with it. Resilience is not endurance. Endurance is how long you can push. Resilience is how quickly you can return to a baseline. Flexibility is resilience. The nervous system that can mobilize when needed and stand down when the threat is over is powerful. That is real strength. So here are 6 ways for you to grind and strive for your goals without burning your nervous system out. 1. Sleep is a performance enhancer. It's not a luxury. Deep sleep is where growth hormones are released. It's where tissues are repaired. It's where emotional processing happens. If you cut that short, you're borrowing energy from the future. 2. Hydration matters more than most people realize. Blood volume, circulation, cognitive clarity are all dependent on it. Even mild dehydration increases stress load. 3. Nutrition affects inflammation, energy stability, and recovery. Erratic blood sugar is a stressor. Chronic underfueling is a stressor. Ultra-processed foods is a stressor. You cannot demand elite output from a system that is undernourished. 4. Strength training must have recovery days built in. Muscle is protective. It improves metabolic health. It supports confidence. But adaptation happens in recovery, not during your exercise sessions. 5. Clear boundaries around work hours. If your nervous system never gets a clear signal that the workday is over, it never downshifts fully. You stay half mobilized all the time. So there's energy being used in the background. Your nervous system is sensitized, it's on high alert. 6. Cold exposure and breath work, but only if your system is not overloaded. Stress stacking is real. Adding more stress to an already maxed out nervous system is poor load management. And these are not soft strategies. These are load management strategies. And these are strategies that have to be performed every day. Elite sports use load management. The military use rotation cycles. High performance organizations monitor stress and recovery. So why would your body be different? Your identity, if it only works when you are at 100% capacity, then it's fragile. Real power is being able to adapt when your capacity changes. The men who last are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who know how to recalibrate. Your ambition is not the problem. Ignoring your biology is. You can build strength, you can build wealth, you can build impact. But if you build them on a nervous system that never shuts down, the cost will eventually show up in your sleep, in your mood, in your pain, in your relationships. The question isn't whether or not you can push through. Most of you can. The real question is whether or not you can recover, whether you can adapt when capacity shifts, whether your identity survives a season when you are not 100%, because that season comes for almost everyone. Real longevity lies in recalibration, in knowing when to mobilize and knowing when to stand down. That is not weakness. That is mastery.